are going to be breaking down every main series Pokemon game and ranking them on a scale of F tier to S tier, so stick around to see where your nostalgia lies, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button as we jump into the very first games on our list, Red and Blue. Now, the original Red and Blue games were released in 1998 in North America and just a year later to the rest of the world, of course leading to the second largest video game franchise of all time, worth well over $100 billion. Of course, we have to pay respect to the originals, but I'm actually going to be ranking them pretty low on this tier list. Now, I can hear the comment sections now, but hear me out. Even though you do have to pay respect to the OGs, we have a lot of quality of life updates and upgrades that I feel like a majority of players simply wouldn't be able to give up and go back to original gameplay and graphics. People ask me all the time, is it worth emulating some of the original games? And when it comes to Red and Blue, by modern day standards, nostalgia may just not be enough to hold up, especially if you're a newer player and you don't have any. So I am going to be ranking this at a D tier ranking. Next on the list is Pokemon Gold and Silver, two games that were supposed to be the end of Pokemon as we know it, but that's for a future video. Now, Gold and Silver fixes a lot of problems that Kanto suffers from. Even though the map is smaller, Johto feels so much more alive, and we add an additional 100 species of Pokemon to our decks. Plus, post-championship grind, we actually go back to the Kanto region with 8 more gyms and even challenging Red. This game is regarded as some of the best post-game gameplay, so I'm going to be giving it a B tier ranking. Moving right along to Generation 3, which is going to give us Ruby and Sapphire, which are actually some of my favorite vintage games of the series. The sprites are actually really starting to come together, they're evolving, they look phenomenal, and this generation gives us access to Pokemon Emerald, which in of itself is like an A or S tier ranking, so I'm actually going to be giving it Generation 3 an A tier ranking simply because of Emerald. After Ruby and Sapphire, we get to my personal favorite games of the series, which are going to be Generation 4's Diamond, Pearl, and most importantly, Platinum. Now, although Diamond and Pearl do suffer from several issues, mainly its small deck size of about only 150 Pokemon, Platinum really elevates the series, adding the additional storyline of Looker and increasing the decks to a size of 210, altogether S tier ranked game, and don't say it's just for nostalgia. Next is going to be Black and White, and here is where I get canceled. Black and White is really not a great game. On the DS, the sprites just didn't translate well, and I honestly hated a lot of them. It had a completely new Pokédex, which in of itself is really not an issue, but a lot of the designs of the new Pokemon were just plain bad. But, big but, Pokemon Black and White 2 is an absolutely entirely different gaming experience with some of the best storytelling I've seen out of any game. And it is so good that Generation 5 as a whole is getting an S tier ranking from me, even though I think the original games at best are C tier. Just a quick PSA that these are all absolutely my opinions, and you might have a completely different list that puts Generation 4 at the bottom. So don't forget to let me know in the comment section down below your own personal rankings for all of these Pokemon games as we go ahead and jump into Generation 6. Now, Generation 6 brings us to X and Y, which is going to be the Kalos region, the series' first true 3D experience, which gives us some of the best gimmicks we've seen in the series, which is going to be Mega Evolution. And having been gone for over a decade and are coming back in Legends Z through A, honestly, I'm getting really excited again about X and Y. The fighting animations are top tier, and we are starting to finally get into character customization, which I was a really big fan of. The graphics are also elevated compared to any other games previously found in the series, and with that, I'm actually going to give X and Y overall an A tier ranking. Next, we're going to head over to the beautiful Alola region, which follows the same pattern of where the main series games are honestly kind of boring, but the second series of games comes in to save the day. Now, Sun and Moon are not my favorite games. I do find the storytelling a little bit boring, and I was not a fan of ditching gym challenges in favor of the island challenges, but that is kind of a personal gripe. But what I am excited about is Ultra Sun and Moon, which introduce wormholes in an entirely new and unique way of shiny hunting in the Pokemon games that we really haven't seen since. Now, I was gonna give them a C tier ranking, which maybe it should honestly be a little lower, but Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon are gonna actually bump this up to a B. Now getting to the end of our list, we're jumping all the way to Generation 8, which of course brings us to the Galar region and Ash's final showing in the anime. We get access to Dynamaxing, Gigantamaxing, and now we can shiny hunt for legendaries in the Dynamax Adventure Cave. The graphics are gorgeous, and honestly, I think one of the prettiest games in the entire line. But it was so ungodly easy, and the storyline was rough at best. I'm going to give Sword and Shield a C tier ranking. That is hard to say, though I really don't think Galar deserves all the hate that it gets. Now, before we get to the last game on our list, guys, don't forget to hit that sub button and like the video, as we are so close to getting monetized on YouTube and towards our 4,000 watch hour goal. And we're going to go ahead and dive into the final game on our list, which of course is going to be Gen 9 Scarlet and Violet. Now, I have such a love-hate relationship with this game because it looks and runs absolutely horrible. Insulting even, but the gameplay is so fun. The story has darker elements to it, and the DLC, especially of the Blueberry Academy, is honestly really solid. It gives us access to a whole new area to shiny hunt for Pokemon, and for Pokemon that just have not appeared in the main series games. However, the gameplay pre-DLC is again super easy, and it bugs out beyond all belief, which in some ways does add to the charm and characteristics of the game, and in other ways, it just feels unfinished, which is another reason why I'm super excited that Pokemon is taking an extra year to make Legends Z through A so it can come out chef kiss. All right, guys, that's going to do it for this one. Don't forget to check out one of these videos where we go over the best and worst starter Pokemon in every single region, and I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.